Get out of my way, Zoom. Clear communication, steps that build trust with disabled handlers. So, why your communication and your energy is so important with service dog teams. So kind of a quick trainer recap here, but what dogs actually respond to. Now, earlier in the slide, you saw pictures of me when I introduced myself of being a kid. I was born female and transitioned into being male about 5, 6 years ago. So normally this wouldn't be something I would bring up in a professional setting. You know, it's my personal life, whatever. The reason I bring it up though is because I have had the opportunity to live as a female handler and trainer, as well as a male handler and trainer. And I have seen the effects that it has had on my clients as well as myself and the different ways that I was treated in the different positions and things like that. And so a lot of what I have put together for this communication is to bridge that gap. So, women in many teams that I've coached are often a little bit softer or, naturally have squeakier voices, which tend to be more exciting to the dogs and things like that. Women tend to be more nurturing. There's the stereotype where if you have children, the mom knows the doctor's name of the kids, the teacher's name, the friends' names, birthdays and all that kind of stuff, and the dad generally doesn't. And so women tend to have that more those different pieces in mind and playful energy. So dogs tend to want to play with them more, but in my experience, the dogs don't listen to them quite as well with most female clients. And then when it comes to male handlers, they already have a naturally deeper voice, and they tend to use that more in charge attitude, energy with a firmer tone, but they tend to be less rewarding with the dogs, less playful with the dogs, less willing to, either give a good pat or a treat or throw a ball or whatever. They just want the dog to do what they tell them to do and to go on. And they don't in pet dog training at least, a lot of the men, when I was seen as a female trainer, would think that it was their wife or their girlfriend was the problem. The dog listened just fine to them. Or if it was the guy that came to me for training, he would come to me and pay me for training, but then he wouldn't listen to half of what I said as a female trainer. Now, part of that is over the years me learning to, be a leader and all of that we all go through as we become trainers or any profession that puts you in a management, so to speak, position. But also part of that is the what I found socially so interesting is once I was seen as a man by the rest of the world, men believed me immediately all of a sudden. They would come to me for training, I would tell them to do something, and they would actually believe me instead of go, oh no, it's not me, it's the dog, it's my wife, it's whatever. They would go, oh, I need to change. Now, I'm not trying to be stereotypically mean to either sex or anyone in between. I'm merely saying that these are some of the stereotypes that I have found repeatedly in the past almost 20 years of what has happened. And my transition and seeing it from both sides, now men listen to me more, but women who have all these details about when the dog gets fed and the house routine and the all the things, they don't open up to me as much as they did before because now I'm a man and I become part of that. I need to build trust because I could be a possible threat. And being raised as a woman, I completely understand that. But I do feel the lack of information. So when I have female clients now, I specifically talk to them about that, and that I need that information in order to help them best, especially as service dog clients. Um, so. As I said, I've trained on the softer voice woman trainer side and as the in charge, male trainer side. Instead of having to force my voice deeper, it now comes out naturally deeper, which makes my life a little easier in the dog training world on that point. It's the same skills. I'm the exact same person. Yes, I've learned and grown over the years, but I still teach the same things, just improved with time. But I get different reactions from dogs and handlers. And like I said, women opened up to me more before, and now men trust me more right off the bat. So part of what I have done with this program is I've connected the dots. I saw how voice, body language, and social habits And by social habits, I mean social habits and conditioning that we have just as growing up, in simple terms, as one gender or the other. And it shapes every session. So most handlers were never taught how to be both clear and rewarding. Most lean towards one or the other. Um, and on top of that, a lot of them don't necessarily feel safe with their trainer. And so it's really important that if you're going to help them, that you build that safety and that bond with them. I'm not saying be unprofessional. I'm saying it's part of the profession to understand them and have them understand you a little bit and to be able to connect with them, so that you can actually really help them. And this is a big difference between program dogs. Program dogs are really trained to do the task, and don't get me wrong, they can do a really good job. I'm not trying to say programs aren't a good thing, but one of the biggest differences between program and owner training is that program, the dog is trained and then given to someone that it hopefully matches with. Owner training, the dog is trained by the owner and they're bonding as they're training and going. So I started changing how I talk to handlers. Slower, not because they're stupid, but because I talk really fast. And even now, I'm trying to talk slower, um, clearer, and with explicit consent and check-ins, because this is really important. As disabled people, we are constantly trying to meet the world's expectations that able-bodied people can do things. And we tend to have a lot of doctor's appointments. And if we work, we have the work commitments too. And we generally have a uh, being disabled means that you have less of an ability to do something to a significant point that affects your daily life. And so when you're trying to meet all those expectations and you know it's really important for your dog to be trained, that as a disabled handler, you're more likely to push yourself and say, yes, I can meet you for class, or yes, I can do this homework or whatever. And a lot of times, if I'm being perfectly honest, as disabled people, we're lying to ourselves. We might be able to maintain it for a little bit, but then we burn out. So the goal with my program is to teach trainers how to not only for themselves not burn out, but also to help their handlers not burn out and have honesty and respect and um, explicit, like I said, consent and check-ins. If you're going to work with people with PTSD, for example, reaching out and touching them without them knowing about it could trigger a panic attack. You need to be aware of these things. So I have a whole class on that. Um, then I also coached how they spoke to their dogs, tuning their words, their tone, and timing until the dog clearly understood. So, uh, my program is based on the inclusive handler communication framework, which is matching the handler's preferred way to learn, asking what helps most, verbal, visual, or written, short sentences, simple words within reason. I don't say that as in disabled people are stupid. We are not. I mean it as in for anybody, like even for this webinar right now, I could throw in a ton of technical terms or I can put in simple things so people can learn quickly. So it's not that I think anyone is, dumb. It's just if you change how you talk and you change how you format things, then you change how quickly people can learn things and spend less time looking things up in a dictionary or just assuming they know what you're talking about and they don't. And then a steady tone so that you start each session with one clear goal. I do recommend written recaps and or visual examples after each session, demonstration, that they have the handler repeat it. So have the handler show you that they understood what you meant so that when they go to do their homework, they're not doing their homework with what they thought they were supposed to be doing, but what they actually need to be doing. And then four would be checking in often to confirm the understanding and end with a short recap and the next step. Again, this is about clear communication, not just with dogs, but with humans. A lot of us will say, yes, I understand, because it seems to be a social expectation among people that, fake it till you make it, and if you don't get it, you look stupid. And it's really important when you work with handlers to explain to them that, you don't see them as stupid, they do need to ask questions. Tools for your communication. Another sneak peek. I included an inclusive language and etiquette checklist. Stay respectful and disability informed. Um, this is always something that is updating and improving, so it's always helpful to ask your clients how they'd like to be addressed. And this is regardless of trans stuff. Just some people like to be addressed by their first name, some by their last name, some by ma'am or sir in certain parts of the country and other parts of the country. In the United States, like I got in trouble in California for calling someone ma'am. She was probably in her 40s or 50s, and I got yelled at for saying that she was old by just saying ma'am. It was in Virginia, raised in California mostly, and most of my extended family is on the East Coast. So I was raised to say ma'am and sir, even though I was raised in California. But that's just an example. So being respectful to people, how they like to be addressed, even to how they communicate. Do they prefer text message, phone calls, etc. I include a legal confidence pack for ADA and state law checklists so you can answer, can I do this without so much stress? And then tailored feedback and weekly guidance. So I give you guys personalized feedback so you're never guessing. An example, Mike is another trainer I mentored in service dog stuff, and he has mentored me in other things. And we'll talk about just a second here how important mentors are to have. So he and I help each other, and what his comment was, Griffin adapted his teaching to my learning style. If I didn't understand something, he reframed it until I did. When people feel understood, they trust you, and their dogs learn faster too.